That's interesting. Yeah, today. Very nice.
Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to our back area. I'm going to point out our year-to-date animal rescues. I know it's the beginning of the year, but we already are busy. Already this year, we've done 3 manatee rescues and 2 sea turtle rescues. So here on the rescue team, we take care of manatees, cetaceans, which are dolphins and whales, sea turtles, and birds when there's not a bird influenza happening. But this keeps us quite busy, and we're going to be talking a little bit about what happens behind the scenes in order to rehabilitate and then to return back out. So our first stop is going to be, we're going to kind of bypass this table right here, and walk straight down to our boats and talk about what happens on an actual rescue. This is our manatee rescue boat. As you guys were waiting in the queue line, you might have noticed a couple more boats as you were out there. That was our cetacean rescue boat and a support boat to go out with our cetacean rescue boat. But this is our manatee rescue boat. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what happens to actually rescue a manatee. So we work really closely with Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. They're going to be the government agency that is on the water monitoring manatees, fielding phone calls. So let's say you were out on the water, you saw an animal that looked like it had been hit by a boat. You would contact Fish and Wildlife. Fish and Wildlife would then send their representatives out to monitor and see if that was true, whether that animal did need any assistance. We could go out in our boat and our van and meet up with them, find that animal, and in order to rescue that animal, we're going to set a net around it in what we call a compass or a circle. So let's say there's an animal that's kind of floating sideways. It looks like it's been hit by a boat. We're going to take this boat and run complete circle all the way around it while we're dropping net behind us. On the right side of the net, you guys will see it's very heavy. There's a lead at the bottom. And then on the left side, there's floats. So as the net is going out, it's creating a curtain. So this side is falling very fast and the floats are bouncing all the way back up. So now we've gone in a circle all the way around our animal, and now they're inside of our compass. We're going to work together as a group, usually about 8 of us or so on the back of the boat, pulling all in one unit together to get that animal onto the boat. So we're going to make our circle kind of bigger on the animal, and then we're going to collapse it down and make it small to where they're directly at the back of the boat, and then we're going to heave that animal on to that side. Then we're going to place this plantain that you see right down here, place it into the slots that are right here so the animal can't come back off the boat. Something super unique about it is that you'll notice there's no engine at the back, and that's so that we can move those animals out of the water onto the back, have all this heavy net at the back. So the engine all the way at the front. So if you've driven a boat before, you can imagine that's quite difficult. Now you have engine at the front, so we are doing a lot of adjusting as we're driving of weight distribution as we're moving through the water. But once we get the animal on the back of the boat, how do you get it off of the boat and back here to SeaWorld? Well, we're going to head right over this way and see that. I know, watch your step. Big net right there. So to move the animal out of the boat, we're going to be using a couple pieces of equipment. We're going to be using things like boat straps to get underneath them in order to kind of rock them up onto their side so that we can tuck this stretcher underneath them and then be able to move the animal in the stretcher, because the stretcher has nice straps and poles for us to be able to grip and move. So here in the park, if we're moving an animal from, let's say, a surgery back to a pool, or moving it from a pool to another pool, we're going to be using a lot of heavy machinery in order to do that. You can see there's the crane right behind us. We use a crane quite often around here. Cranes, forklifts, all those sorts of things. But out in the field, pure manpower. So we're working together as a team in order to be able to do that. So once the animal gets into our stretcher here, we're going to place it onto this nice foam pad. We'll have people sitting in the back with it, monitoring the animal, making sure it's breathing okay. We'll be spraying its face down with water, making sure it stays nice and moist. One of our kind of most popular questions we get is how long can the animals be out of water? For our manatees, they can stay out for hours and hours. If we were going to transport something like a dolphin, sort of a longer distance, we would be using a transport unit, which basically is a box that the animal would be in water, in a stretcher, in water with. But for our manatees, they'll just sit on this nice foam pad, stay nice and moist. If it's cold like this today, we have the heat on, we have some blankets that we put over them. And then we would be driving from the boat ramp all the way back into the park, where our animal will be placed into one of our medical pools using our cranes and our forklifts. Our ultimate goal with our animals rehab-wise is to complete their rehab and then return them back out. So when it comes time to return them, we're going to do the whole process in reverse. Crane into the truck to the boat ramp back out into the water. So manatees aren't the only thing we rescue. We also rescue sea turtles, like you saw on our board over there. So that's our next stop, is we're going to take a peek at our sea turtles. I am going to ask that you guys stay behind the yellow line as we're walking. These guys are still sick. We want to give them some space. We want to make sure no hands go in the water. So stay behind that yellow line for me, but we're going to line all the way up down the side. So these are Kent's Ridley sea turtles, and this is the most endangered species of sea turtle. They came to us this winter, so December time frame, from the New England area. So up in the New England area, there's a particular location up in Cape Cod, where every single year thousands of sea turtles end up stranding themselves. They get stuck basically in the current, and they can't make their way down south. So turtles, as you guys kind of know, are probably all over the country, all over the world, right? They're all down south, all down north, but they need to be in warm water when it gets cold. So they need to make their way back down warm. But if they get stuck in the current, then they end up cold stressed. And so that's what's happened to these guys. So we work really closely with a volunteer agency called Turtles Flight 2 that volunteer their time and their private planes to move turtles to different aquariums. So they flew these guys down here, and this is where they will continue their rehabilitation and then be returned back out down here once they complete their rehab. So about an hour from here is where they'll get returned back out. And most likely by the end of the spring, it'll be time for them to be returned. Every turtle is different on how long their rehab is. They don't do everything very slowly. But most of them have pneumonia-like symptoms from being in the cold for too long. Some of them have wounds from being in the cold for too long. Think about it, if you got stuck in the snow for too long, what's happening to you, same sort of thing. So when they first come in, they're going to get triaged by us and our veterinarians. They're going to be getting subcu fluids, antibiotic injections every about 2 hours. They're nice, tasty, warm water. We're feeding them shrimp here at the park and increasing the amount of food that they are getting as they progress in their rehabilitation. And then once they are deemed medically clear, that's when it'll be time for us to pit tag them. So we place a microchip in their shoulder, and then we will return them back out. And that's so that if it's time and they get rescued again, we will know if that's an animal that's been rescued another time. But how do you know when it's time for a turtle to be returned back out? Our veterinarians use diagnostic tools to be able to tell whether they're healthy again, and that's what we're going to talk about next. So we're going to head on down this way. As we are walking, you guys are going to be passing by our aquarium quarantine. Everybody knows what the word quarantine means after 2020. So these are all animals that are isolated from other areas around the park, whether that means they need some sort of medical treatment or they're new to our collection. So our aquarists are the ones that are around the park taking care of our stingrays, our sharks, the beautiful tropical fish that you guys see. And so that is one of their areas right that way.
You want to do go first. Alright, so this
this is our laboratory. So we do have our lab technicians are in here every day working with water samples. So it's a very important thing here in Orlando. We do not live close enough to the ocean to be able to have water pumped in from the ocean. So all of it is, you know, man-made salt water a lot around the park. So we got to stay in very specific parameters for that. So they're checking things like pH and salinity. If you guys have ever had a saltwater tank, you know how difficult that is. So we do have a whole team of water quality scientists that are here monitoring around the park, but then we also have our lab that's running tests and running all of that for them and giving them the results that they need. Not only are they running water samples, but they're also running medical samples. So let's say that I needed to get a blood sample on a manatee. We would take the blood, we would drop it off right here to our lab, they would spin it down, and then by this afternoon, our veterinarians would have the results from that blood. Think about how long it takes to get your blood results back from your doctor, and it's pretty impressive that they do that around the park with all of the animals that are here. And this allows our vets to be able to make those changes very quickly, especially for us on the rescue team. You know, we're dealing with a lot of very sick and injured animals that need pretty immediate care. So for them to be able to make the changes that they need this quickly, it is super important for us in particular every single day. And so we really appreciate our lab members for working very hard and working very quickly for us. They also are the ones that are helping to distribute the medications that we need. So there is a pharmacy right here on site. So once our vets get those blood results back, they start prescribing things. Right here is where they will start drawing up the exact medications that we need and then pass it out to us, and then we will go administer said medication. So it's a really big kind of group team effort in order to get these animals medically cleared and ready to go back out. So we're gonna walk to one more window to show you guys our vet treatment room. So this is kind of like the vet office. Right now I don't think there's anybody in there, but we can take a peek inside. You never know what you're gonna see. Penguin, a sea turtle, you never know, but I think they are out and about today. So they do have a demonstration of what it looks like when it comes time for sea turtle radiographs. So you'll see the little fleshy sea turtle back there. So that's what it looks like when our sea turtles get their radiographs done. We do have multiple medical pools all around the park for lots of different animals. So the dolphins, the whales, the manatees. So most of the time when we see our veterinarians, we're seeing them poolside at our pool. We don't always have to bring our animals to them. They come to us. But smaller animals like our sea turtles, our penguins, the birds, they'll come right in here and be able to get their treatment in the lab. If they're going to need surgery and need to be anesthetized, they'll come here. So moving a big manatee over this way, we do have to do if they do need to go to surgery. But anything small, wound cleanings, even radiographs are done inside for us. Right here on the right, we're going to take a loop back. So this is a radiograph table. So anything large, manatee, we're going to place on top of the table and the radiograph plate underneath, and that's how they're going to be able to take those pictures.
You like it? He says, I want food.
Be on call today. He's the one that signed that manatee tomorrow. Might be whoever states that it is, yes. And most of the time if it's a surgery, they're all moving. So it's going to take all of them. Somebody working, you know, the anesthesia machine, somebody working, you know, getting the fluids going, and we do have lab technicians as well. So with a big surgery like a manatee is happening, it's pretty much when everybody's on.
So do they do like the extra journey after vet school? Or
Yes.
is it just like when you're in vet school?
They do vet school and then they go do specialized externships and internships. Okay. Specialized, yeah. All right, we're gonna keep heading down this way. You guys are looking at some of our spoonbills. And
Duncan, who's enjoying all of the attention
Every single morning.
He's hearing everybody talk.
Ah.
Duncan, he loves it. Oh my gosh, especially not him. He would freak out. He's talking more than he is now.
Poor guy heart attack with all that happening. Oh man. How long have you worked here?
5 minutes, coming up on 5 minutes now.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, and you get to see all the other things that happen. This is done soon, so you guys can see the next episode.
Alright, so our last stop is going to be the stop at our table right here with our partner, Hub SeaWorld Research Institute. So these guys are the ones that are on the water monitoring like our dolphin population health here in Florida. They work really hard to do a lot of photo identification, they're first responders, reporting stranded or injured, and taking dolphins and things. So you guys got kind of head on in, take a peek at all the fun things that they have on there, and then once you guys are done, head back out the same way that you came in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Appreciate it.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for stopping by.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
We enjoy it. I work in lawn care, so this is we're waiting for this all year round.
So we're the nonprofit affiliate of SeaWorld, and we've worked with them for a couple decades. Primarily, we work together doing whale and dolphin rescues because they respond to all the animals. We just respond to whale and dolphin strainings along about 40% of the East Coast. So we get about 70 animals each year that either strand or are injured. We get a lot of entanglements, and then we also have a photo identification program. So we do boat surveys about weekly and use a large camera to take images of their dorsal fins. So their dorsal fins are kind of like a fingerprint. So each individual dolphin is different, and we can tell them all apart and then follow them throughout their entire lives. So that helps us know where they live. We can learn about their affiliation patterns, and if we need to find one that's entangled, we have a decade's worth of information about where she might be hiding, so that we can get hands on the animal and disentangle it. A lot of times you guys saw the net, and we work with SeaWorld to put a net around the animal, quickly disentangle it. We also have remote tools, so we'll always try that first. So this is a grapple. We also have knives, and we'll put them on the end of like an 18-foot pole and try and come up alongside the animal, grab onto the gear, handle the animal if we need to, but sometimes it'll just grab and they'll kick it right off. Other times we might just be able to cut some of it off just to give it more time until we can get the net out and be able to capture the animal, release it. So we've been working really hard to spread the word about entanglements because we've had so many, and we're using drone technology to overfly the animals to look at the configuration. So we would never want to hook into with a grapple an entanglement if it went through the mouth in any means. So it's really helpful to know what we're dealing with before we get hands on the animal. You never know really what's under the water. We had one once entangled in a Hawaiian pole spear. So it had a 6-foot pole spear that it was dragging. So the more information you have ahead of time, the better off you're going to be. I would say, that being said, the quicker we know about it, the better off the animals will be. So if you guys are on the water at all or local, there's the FWC number is for whales, dolphins, turtles, manatees, any injured wildlife you might come across. They'll get you to the right people, and that's a 24-hour number. So if you want a pamphlet or key tag, it has a number on it. Those are floating boat key tags if you'd like one, or just remember it in your mind. The FWC number, it'll get you help for whatever animal you might come across. Thank you. We appreciate you guys stopping by. Have a great day.
If you have any questions, please feel free.
Yeah, help yourself.